Yeah.
Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. 41-32. That's not our projected score for this playoff matchup. No, that's how many years it's been since Georgia and Michigan have each won a national championship. Bulldogs have not won since 1980. Michigan has not won since 1989. And one of these teams is going to have a chance to potentially end that national championship drought by winning the Orange Bowl and making the national championship. Guys, this has a chance to be the best playoff game we see on New Year's Eve. A battle between two great defenses, a battle between two passionate fan bases, both dying to see that drought end. But only one can have a chance at that. Who's it going to be? So again, guys, welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, ready to predict and analyze everything you need to know for the Orange Bowl, the second college football playoff semifinal between number 3 Georgia and number 2 Michigan. As always, make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below. We have some exclusive content there for you guys, none bigger though than our expert picks over on the gridironexpert.com. If you want the spread pick for this Orange Bowl, if you want the spread pick for all the other college football bowl games, if you want the spread picks for all the NFL playoff games, and a handful of the regular season games that are left, the gridironexpert.com is the place for you, because not only will you receive all of those picks for a year-long subscription. You buy now, you get it all the way through 2022. But you will win with those picks, as we are beating out over 80% of the national analysts for each of the last 3 years. We're doing it again now. You're not going to win anywhere else. You'll win here with us if you join our team. So the gridironexpert.com, check out that link again down in the description below. So let's take a look at this matchup, guys. The Bulldogs and the Wolverines. We'll start on offense with Georgia, the designated road team for this Orange Bowl. An offense, guys, marred by COVID and controversy. That is really the simplest way we can put it. Because just a couple days ago, at the time of this filming at least, JT Daniels and George Pickens were both entering COVID protocols. And obviously their status as of this video remains unseen, whether or not they will play in this Orange Bowl against Michigan. And obviously losing George Pickens would be a huge loss, a key wide receiver and a key component of this passing game that could really give the Bulldogs a boost. That's huge. But does it matter for JT Daniels? That is the million-dollar question, because it's been Stetson Bennett all year long. Stetson Bennett has been the mailman in Athens all year long over JT Daniels. He has led the Bulldogs to an average of 39.4 points per game. He has thrown for over 2,300 yards and 24 touchdowns, averaging nearly 250 passing yards per game. Kirby Smart seems adamant to stick with Stetson Bennett. Despite his bad performance in the SEC championship game against Alabama, he seems adamant to stick with Stetson Bennett. We haven't seen JT. He's been healthy, right? He's been around. The fans want him. Well, I think some of the players want him. But Kirby seems to be sticking with Stetson Bennett. Will that be what happens on New Year's Eve? Will that be what Kirby Smart chooses to go with, even if JT is able to go, even if he clears all the COVID protocols? That's going to be the million-dollar question, guys. Quarterback play, going to be key. A lot of fans not happy and will not be happy if he decides to go with Stetson Bennett. But you look at Georgia's offense outside of that. That's kind of been the storyline all year long, is Georgia's quarterback play, which up until the SEC championship game hadn't really been bad out of Stetson Bennett. You look at the run game, though. That's something that Georgia does extremely well. They average nearly 195 rushing yards per game. They have 6 players that have at least 100 rushing yards. 6 players with at least 100 rushing yards. So they are not short of talent in that backfield. But there are 2 that obviously stick out more than others. The first one, Zamir White. 718 yards on the year, 10 touchdowns. The other, James Cook. 619 yards, 7 touchdowns on the year. Those are the top 2 running backs for Georgia. Those are the 2 that are going to be the biggest difference makers and playmakers for Georgia on the ground game going up against this Michigan defense. When you look at Michigan and their offense, this is a balanced Michigan attack, but a Michigan team that wants to run the ball. The Wolverines average 223.8 rushing yards per game. They average 228 passing yards per game. So they're about as even as you can get statistically. But if you've watched Michigan from start to finish, or at least if you just watched in the last few weeks, you know that's what they do and what they do best. And what they want to do, they want to They did to Iowa. They did to Maryland. They even did to Wisconsin, one of the better rushing defenses in the country. Michigan wants to run the ball, and they're doing it effectively. They're led by Hassan Haskins. That's the big guy. Over 1,200 yards, 20 touchdowns on the year. But don't forget about Blake Corum either. He was injured for a little while, but still put up over 900 yards and 11 touchdowns. This Michigan rushing attack is legit, and they are very, very difficult to stop, especially with how balanced the offense is. Earlier in the year, I wouldn't say we criticized Cade McNamara, but we questioned him. We questioned McNamara's ability. We said all Michigan does is run. McNamara hasn't had to do anything. But he has consistently shown himself, I would say, really ever since that Michigan State game. Despite the Wolverines losing that game to the Spartans, he has shown that he is capable of winning a game through the air. He is capable of putting up solid numbers. McNamara over 2,400 yards on the year, 15 touchdowns to just 4 interceptions, but only 3 games where he has eclipsed 250 passing yards. If you know anything about Georgia, if you know anything about Michigan and their style of play and Georgia's defense and what they bring to the table, you know McNamara is going to have a big day. We said he can put up the numbers. He's efficient. He takes care of the ball. We haven't had to see him really win a game through the air. He might have to do it in this Orange Bowl because Georgia's rushing defense is ridiculous. Is absolutely ridiculous. They don't let people run on them. It just doesn't happen. The Bulldogs give up just 81.7 rushing yards per game. That's it. 81.7 rushing yards per game and just 172 passing yards per game. So add that together, you're looking at 253.9 total yards per game. We always say if you're holding an opponent to about 300 yards per game or less, you're looking really good. Georgia's doing 253.9. That's unreal. Unreal. They are the best defense in the country, some would say, and many would have said that up until the SEC championship where they were obliterated by Alabama and Bryce Young. But you look at the numbers for Georgia. They've allowed 100 rushing yards or more just 4 times this year. Those were against UAB, Florida, Missouri, and then Alabama in the SEC championship game. So 3 blowouts and then 1 blowout loss, losing to the Crimson Tide. Georgia still, despite that, is only giving up 9.5 points per game. But the million-dollar question, guys, is I have 100% complete faith in Georgia's rushing defense. They might allow over 100 rushing yards to Michigan. That's not a big deal. But Michigan's not going to go out there and put up over 200, not going to put up 250. That's not going to happen against this Bulldogs front 7, against this Georgia front. It's just not. The million-dollar question is how does Georgia respond to that bad loss to Alabama? Yes, in the grand scheme of things, it's not a big deal. It wasn't a playoff play-in game for Georgia. Win or lose, they were getting in. All that was at stake with them was the 1 seed. But losing 41-24, giving up 536 yards to Alabama, 421 of those to the air, that's terrible for a defense that many were starting to credit as the best ever. That's not going to be the best ever when you get beat like that. Not going to be like that. So how does the defense respond to such a bad performance? How do they respond against the pass? Again, 421 through the air to Alabama, 332 through the air to Tennessee, arguably the top 2 offenses they faced all year. Michigan, I'm not saying will be one of the best offenses they faced all year, but I am saying that Georgia needs to find a way to shut down Cade McNamara. As the year has gone on, he has shown he can make plays through the air. Michigan does have the talent to exploit this Georgia secondary. I'm not saying they're going to go out there and throw for 400. They might not even throw for 300. But if Michigan can hit about 225, 250 through the air, they have a very good chance to win this game because they are going to put up at least, I believe, 100 on the ground. So that's going to be the key here. Georgia's got to find a way to stop the pass. Make that a non-factor because the rushing game, for the most part, will be nothing like Michigan wants it to be. Michigan defensively, they're pretty dang good too. Allowed just 16.1 points per game, just allowed 316 total yards per game. One thing I've noticed from Michigan is they do a pretty good job of taking away your strength. They do a pretty good job of trying to find what your strength is, taking it away. I look at a couple instances here, mostly against the run, how well Michigan has fared against that. They took away Ohio State's run game. They took away Iowa's run game. They took away Penn State's run game. They even took away Wisconsin's run game. That's all Wisconsin does is run. Wolverines on a whole is giving up 121.5 rushing yards per game. So, Michigan, their key, like Georgia, is stopping the pass. Michigan, if you can stop Stetson Bennett or JT Daniels, but more likely Stetson Bennett, you stop that. I have faith in the Wolverines to stop this Georgia rushing attack. One that, yes, is lighting up defenses, one that is averaging nearly 200 rushing yards per game, but other teams were averaging that much too. other teams were lighting it up on the ground. Michigan did a pretty good job of taking it away, slowing them down, allowing way less than that team's average on offense. And Michigan ultimately won those games. They beat Ohio State. They beat Iowa in the Big Ten Championship. 42-3. They beat Wisconsin. They beat Penn State. That's going to be the key. On top of that, if Michigan can create just a little bit of pressure, something they've done very well at, something they've been very good at. Aiden Hutchinson, a Heisman finalist, racking up 14 sacks. David Ojabo, 11 sacks on the year, so 25 sacks between the two players. They can do a little bit of that against Stetson Bennett, or JT Daniels, more likely Stetson Bennett. The Michigan's going to be looking really good. The stage is not too big for either of these teams. Georgia has been here before, playing the best conference in the country. Michigan is a blue blood program. They have fallen short time and time again. Jim Harbaugh finally got them over that hump. They finally beat Ohio State. They crushed Iowa. They are finally in the college football playoff. And they have their eyes set not just on just beating Georgia, but winning it all. Winning it all. Someone's drought will end, possibly. Georgia 41 years, Michigan 32. At least they're going to have a shot at it. One of these teams will. Like we said at the beginning of this video, this has the chance to be the better of the two playoff games. If you believe Alabama's going to crush Cincinnati, then this is the chance to watch a good quality football game. Although if you watch our prediction video, we say not so fast to Alabama just crushing Cincinnati. But regardless, this is a game that is going to be very physical. It's going to be tough in the trenches, hard-nosed football. Two teams that want to run, but will they be able to against these stingy defenses? It has everything you want in a playoff matchup. Almost feels like a crime that it's a semifinal and not a natty. Especially with the droughts for both these teams. How great would it be if they were meeting to try to end that drought? But at the end of the day, guys, I'm going to go with the team that I think has the better defense. I'm going to go with the team that I believe can shut down the opposing quarterback. And for me, that is going to be the Georgia Bulldogs. I'm going to pick Georgia in this game. I still believe that despite the horrible performance against Alabama in that title game, they have the better defense than Michigan. And like we mentioned earlier, Cade McNamara has impressed us. He has talent. He can win. But he has yet to be forced to win a game solely through the air. We have yet to see him in a position where in the final 2 minutes, or if the team falls desperately behind, where he has to air it out nonstop to try to bring Michigan back from behind or to win it in the final seconds. We really haven't had to see him do that. It's been very rare that we've seen him do that. And if Georgia takes away that run or slows it down, makes it where Michigan is not averaging or putting up over 200 yards per game, McNamara is going to have to air it out. If you want to beat Georgia, you've got to throw. Alabama cracked the code. They figured it out. I don't expect Michigan to put up those type of numbers, and I don't expect Georgia to allow Michigan to air it out as bad as Alabama did. I don't think that's going to happen. You've given Kirby Smart nearly a month to prepare. He's going to have his Bulldogs ready, and they want that rematch against Alabama. It's not necessarily a lock, but when this second playoff semifinal kicks off, they'll know who the opponent will be. We'll know who one of the two teams in the national championship will be. If it's Alabama, you can guarantee that Georgia's going to be hungry to win this game, hungrier than they would be otherwise. Give me the Bulldogs to take down Michigan, what I believe can be an instant classic, a game that I believe can come down to the wire. Give me Georgia to advance to the national championship, and they will have a shot to end their 41-year national championship drought. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below. If you want the spread pick for this Orange Bowl, if you want the spread pick for all the other bowl games, all the NFL playoff games, everything like that, sign up for our expert picks over on thegridironexpert.com. It's a year-long subscription, so you buy now, you get it all the way through 2022, and you will win. One of the best prices in the country for one of the best marks in the country. Join our team, sign up today, and once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.